Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the webinar on new education policy introduced by the Government of India in 2020. Now, this webinar conducted by KC Gurukul Public School Jammu is trying to make the students and of course the parents understand what changes this new education policy is going to bring in the education system of India and how it is going to benefit the students, the children of the country, and what impact it will make on the professional life of the students. So this webinar will try to answer all those questions, and please allow me to share my screen with you. Yes. So as we all know that the new education policy was launched by the government of India in 2020. But before moving on to what this new education policy talks about, we need to know what was there before this new education policy. And we should start with the year 1968 when new policy on education came into focus. This actually brought two new things in the education system. One of them was that the education was made compulsory for the children up to the age of 14. Why it was done? Because the youth, the children of the country should get at least the basic education. Another important thing that was introduced was the three language formula. What was the purpose of bringing three language formula? It was to make it possible for the students to have education in the language that is more comfortable for them. It was not that they should get educated only in English or only in Hindi. It made it possible for them to have education in English or in their mother language as well, in their local language as well. So it was something that would make it very much easier for them. Then of course, with the need of the time, there is a need to modify the policies as well. Then this policy was modified in 1986, where again two approaches were introduced. The most important thing that was introduced was the child-centered approach. Now, for the child-centered approach, it was no longer required for to have the classroom environment, to keep the teacher at the center of the classroom environment, but the children actually were the center. What is to be taught, how it is to be taught, what the children want to study, that all should be kept into focus, is what this policy said in 1986. And one more very important thing that was introduced was the Operation Blackboard. Now, as we all know, whenever we teach as teachers, the first visual aid that is handy is the blackboard, or we can say green board that we use these days. That is the first thing that we use as a visual aid. So at that time, considering blackboard as a very important visual aid which will help the students to incorporate more knowledge, to grasp more knowledge and have more understanding, Operation Blackboard was launched. Then in 1992, again, this policy was modified, and very important major entrance exam like JEE and AIEEE and also SLEEE were launched. Like AIEEE is on the national level, SLEEE was on the state level. So these exams, these entrance exams were launched so that children could get admission to one of the best colleges of the country, where they could get the high quality education. That is why these entrance exams were introduced. But then the NEP 2020 came last year. What was the need to have such policy? As we saw in the previous policy, in those previous years also, when the policy was modified, there is not much space for inclusive education, whereas NEP 2020 gives space for inclusive education. And what do we mean by inclusive education is, no matter with which difficulty, with which challenge, or with which disability the child is facing, inclusive education will pave the way for all those children of all these affairs, no matter what challenges they face. NEP will provide them with the equal opportunity for education, and not just equal opportunity for education, but it will also provide them an equal education. Also, it focuses on the quality education rather than the quantity, which was there earlier. It will focus not on how much the knowledge is imparted, but on how the knowledge is imparted and how much knowledge the children are able to have. And this will lead to the holistic development, which is another very much main important point. Holistic development means that the child will develop not only in one sphere, not only in one field, but in many, many fields. It will be like also in arts, in sports, in life skills, in many other skills that the child can develop, and also on the academic side. So this is the vision of NEP, to have such education in the country, because this is the need of the hour. This is the need of the 21st century. Then, when we talk about new education policy, of course, it replaces a previous policy which came in 1986, as we saw before. And national education policy provides a framework, not just for elementary education or not just for higher education, but from the beginning of the schooling of the child till the end of the schooling, and also after that, also beyond that. It not only talks about all the years of the school education, but it also provides a framework for the higher education, for when the student is about to go to the college, which courses should he or she take, and what is going to change with the new education policy. Then, as we saw earlier, that it is very important for the child to have a holistic development. Now, the question is, how will the holistic development take place? That will happen because of the vocational training. The child will be given vocational training, and as we see, most of the policies, most of the uh, things, they happen in urban India. But vocational training will not only happen in urban India, that is not only in cities, but it will also take place in small towns and villages. Why is vocational training important? It is important because it will prepare the students for the future. How? Because vocational training will help them to develop new skills. And if they're already having any skill, it will help them to refine those skills, to sharpen those skills. This will help the child to not be dependent on, having a job in the future. Like we wait always, the government will announce vacancies and will apply, will give exams, and if exam get clear, then we'll just have the job. But with the development of the skill, the child can actually be independent. He or she can be self-dependent, and they can make a better life. And as we saw earlier, one of the major aim of new education policy is to have high quality education. Rather than focusing on the quantity, it will focus on the quality of the education that is to be provided. And we say it many times that, students complete their education, they complete all their schooling, but they don't have any idea, or they don't have any concept about what their rights are. They're not much aware. New education policy also focuses on providing education in such a way that the youth of the country will be aware of its rights, the fundamental rights that the constitution provides, and not only the rights, but also the duties. And why is it important? Because that is how the students, that is the youth, will become the proper citizen, will become the perfect citizen for not only the country, but also of the society they live in. And of course, it also aims to instill, to incorporate values, ethics, and skill in the students, so that they can have a proper future, they can have a better future, and of course, they become the best citizens of the country. Then there is, of course, a very much need to talk about the major academic reforms. The first major reform is that the 10 plus 2 system of the schooling, which we also say the major class is 10th, and after 10th, the most, important class is at 12th. So it is always like focus on 10th and 12th. But now such thing is not going to happen. The new system is of 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, and we'll see later on how this has changed. And this will, as we see many times, that when the child is of 3 years of age, we admit the child in a playway school. And after the playway school, then the child is shifted to another school where he or she does first and second grade. Then maybe his or she is shifted to another school where she will go on for further classes. But now this, there is no need to do that. The age group of 3 to 6, which is very important for the development of the child, will be brought under the school curriculum itself. And it will be like, Anganwadi, it will be preschooling, which will be based on totally play-based learning. And after this preschooling, there will be 12 years of schooling more, starting from grade 1 up to grade 12. So 15 years in total, there will be the schooling of 15 years. And then, of course, the first 5 years is the foundational stage, which is for the age group of 3 to 8. And then after foundational stage, there is a preparatory stage, which is of 3 years from the ages 8 to 11. After preparatory stage, there is middle stage for the age group of 11 to 14 years. And at the last comes the secondary stage, which is in total of 4 years. And it goes on from age 14 to 18 years. Now, as we see, earlier it was 10 plus 2, now it is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. What's the difference? Difference is the first one, that is the foundational stage of 5 years, that is again divided into 3 plus 2 years. As we saw, up from age 3 to age 6, the child will be having preschooling, or we can say Anganwadi, and then the next 2 years will be of grade 1 and grade 2. Now, this stage is the foundational stage. Here, the child doesn't have to go for books, doesn't have to go for notebooks, doesn't have to go for writing or reading or anything like that. But here, all the study, all the learning will happen through activity. It will happen through play-based. It will happen through playing. So child will actually enjoy those activities, and while enjoying those activities, the child will learn as well. Based on that learning, then there comes a preparatory stage. In preparatory stage, again, there is the learning which is based on playing. And not only just playing, when the child has already, developed the learning on play-based learning, then the child will also, become curious. He or she will try to discover new things. And when they go for discovering new things, of course, they will learn much more in those stages. And then in preparatory stage, classroom will also be introduced, but classroom teaching won't be like just the teacher based, that the teacher is teaching and students are studying. No, there will be a very interactive study in a very both the students will participate and the teacher is also of course will participate, but the students will be the main focus. They will be the major participants. With this type of learning, students will actually incorporate more knowledge among themselves, and obviously they will retain the knowledge for longer periods of time. After the preparatory stage, there is middle stage, again it is of 3 years from the age group of 11 to 14. मिडिल स्टेज में जैसे हमने पहले स्टेजेस में देखा कि चाइल्ड ने एक्सपीरियंस से लर्न करना शुरू किया, एक्टिविटी और प्ले से लर्न करना स्टार्ट किया. अब इसी हैबिट पे चाइल्ड और लर्न करेगा. जो सब्जेक्ट्स इंट्रोड्यूस किए जाएंगे, वेदर इट इज मैथ्स, वेदर इट इज लैंग्वेज और साइंस और सोशल स्टडीज, whatever subject it is, the child will learn through experience. वो ना कि उन सब चीजों को सिर्फ टेक्स्ट बुक्स पे रीड करेंगे, बल्कि वो उनको इस तरह से एक्सपीरियंस करेंगे कि वो उनको अपनी लाइफ में, अपनी रियल लाइफ में भी इनकॉर्पोरेट कर सके. वी यूजुअली फील दिस प्रॉब्लम दैट we study and we are not able to apply that study in our real life. But अब ऐसा नहीं होगा. अब जो नॉलेज एक चाइल्ड ने, एक स्टूडेंट ने इनकॉर्पोरेट की है, वो उसको अपनी एक्चुअल लाइफ में भी यूज कर पाएगा. देन ऑफ कोर्स the class from 9 to 12 is of 4 years and it is the secondary stage. Now in the secondary stage there will be multidisciplinary study. यानी कि child सिर्फ एक stream में नहीं पढ़ेगा, वो बहुत सारे streams को follow कर सकता है according to his or her own interest, because he is giving the flexibility of making choices. He or she can make his choice according to the comfort of the subject, according to the interest of the subject. And the major thing is that child will be able to have a very critical thinking, problem solving thinking jab hogi, then they will be able to develop creative solution as well. And when they develop creative solution, then they will be able to solve any problem in their life in a very creative way. So this is not going to help the students just on the academic level, but it will also help them in their real life as well, where they will be able to analyze the problem objectively and also solve it. Then moving on, next to how the school education is going to change, we saw how the system will change. It is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. It is very important for us to know that there will be 10 bagless days for the students, and in those bagless days there will be no books, there will be no textbooks. Children will be given, opportunity to learn the skills that they want to learn, any skill that they are interested in. They can learn that, they can refine their skill, and of course the schools have to provide such feasibility for the students to be able to learn those skills. And it will be like an informal internship where child will be given a chance to develop their skills and also show off their skills. Then another very important thing that this policy introduced is that up to at least the grade of 5, it is not necessary to impart the knowledge in English, not necessary to do it in Hindi, but जिस भी language में child comfortable है, उसी language में we have to impart the knowledge, because it is not about how much the knowledge is imparted. It is about whether the child is able to understand everything that the teacher is teaching. बात है कि वो concepts को समझे, वो चीजों को understand करे, rather than just going to the rote learning. And इसलिए there is also a plan that maybe this thing, introducing teaching with mother language, will go up to grade 8. It will not stay limited to grade 5. Then when we talk about the board and school exams, which is also very much important, school exams will be held at 3 levels: classes 3, classes 5, classes 8. There is no need to have an exam for class 1 or class 2, and so on and so forth. Why that has been done? Because usually when the exams are taken, it is like an assessment that how much the child has learned, how much the child has crammed, whether he or she is able to write or not. But now it is not the case, and therefore the exams have been redesigned. Why they are redesigned? So that there is not the assessment of rote learning, there is not the assessment of cramming, but the assessment of how many concepts, how much understanding the child is having, कितने concepts उसको clear हैं, कितनी skills develop की गई हैं. That is what is to be assessed. And after the exam is done, the result will the result will not show how much marks one has got, how much percentage one has got, but the report card will be in such a way that it will be showing what skills the child has developed, how much progress the child has done. And if the child is lagging, then that report card will help the educators to understand how the child can improve in those respective fields. So this will be like a 360-degree holistic report card, which will help the students to improve and not just assess how much they have learned or how much they have crammed. Then again, as we all know, there are board exams for class 10th and 12th. These will continue. And board exams will be made easier. As we saw earlier that the exams have been redesigned to check the skills and the knowledge of the students rather than just the rote learning. And one thing that we know is that beginning from class 9th, we always find that children, are given the chance to choose whether they want to study mathematics in basic or they want to study mathematics in standard. According to the comfortability of the child, he or she can choose any of these both, चाहे basic में पढ़े, चाहे standard में पढ़े. अब ये चीज सिर्फ maths तक limited नहीं रहेगी. It will also move on to other subjects. The child can choose whether he or she wants to study other subjects in basic or in standard level. So this is also very, a very much a good point that the NEP is proposing. Then another thing, as we see that the board exams of course, classes 10 to 12, they go outside for checking, for evaluation. For that evaluation, Parak, a new National Assessment Center will be established, which will, do improved evaluation, and it will also do unbiased evaluation, which is very much important. And children will be assessed on the basis of what they have done in their exams, and there will be no injustice in the evaluation, which is obviously a very good point. Then vision of NEP, as we saw earlier, that the students will be given more flexibility. More flexibility as in, when one passes class 10th, then there is always, a question, which stream should I choose? Now, if I want to choose commerce, I choose commerce. But what if I'm a bit interested in the subject of arts as well? Now, what will happen? That limitation has gone away. It will go away. And flexibility is there so that the child is able to choose whichever subject he or she wants to study. If she wants to study commerce, she can study commerce, but she can also choose history as her subject. So there is so much independence and so much flexibility which is given to the students so that they can choose the subject of their interest and their comfort. Then of course the education is going to be more art integrated and more sport integrated. We see even now that art integrated projects are going on. Why it is happening? So that the artistic skills of the child, the artistic skills of the students are refined as well. And we have seen that students come out with so much creativity in those art integrated projects that even they get to know that they have such skills in them. So these things will obviously refine their skills, which is very important, and obviously it will lead to the holistic development of the child. And of course, this is a very much a big major step towards the holistic education. And then there is obviously also the concept that the child should understand the things. The child should understand the concept rather than just cramming the things. So understanding is, the main focus that the NEP is bringing on the behalf of the children. Then, as we saw that in 1968, three language formula was introduced. Multilingualism also stays in NEP. How? Up to grade 5, as you saw earlier, the medium of language, the medium of instruction is going to be mother language, and preferably it will go up to grade 8. And there is a new project that is introduced. This is the languages of India. Now, what is the purpose of this project? The purpose is that every student will get to know about the diversity of the country, will get to know about the culture of the country, how the languages develop, how diverse and beautiful these languages are. So the children will be able to know that. And of course, three language still there, and the child can choose which language he or she wants to study. And for that third language, apart from one foreign language that we usually study as English and one native language that is usually Hindi, the third language that the child wants to choose can be of any classical language he or she is interested in. And the schools have to make it available for the children to have all the classical languages with them, available with them. So this is also a very important point. With that too, the child will be able to know about the diversity of the country. Then there are there is very important point, and that point is that there is a focus on socio-economically challenged groups. Now, फोकस इन ग्रुप्स पे क्यों है? ताकि जितना भी गैप है इंडिया के स्टूडेंट्स में when they are studying, gap between urban and rural, gap between females and males, or any other gap, that gap is to be bridged, and this is very important. If this is done, then the vision of NEP to have inclusive education will come true. And such groups are like females and transgenders. We see in rural areas that males are given the preference to have the education rather than the females. But females are also to be a push forward so that they can get the education, they can get equal education, and same for transgenders. And one very common thing that we see is that the students who are studying in the cities, they are actually much advanced than those who come from the villages or from the small towns to the cities. And we always see there is a gap between both of them. One, from the cities, they are more advanced, and those from the villages, they lag behind in many things. So this gap is to be reduced as much as possible, because NEP focuses on equal education for all. Then migrant communities are there, or children who have been hit by very harsh situations in their previous years, whether it was because of some natural calamity or whether it was on behalf of the family or anything. So those children are also to be incorporated in having equal education. Then of course the students from minority communities, whether it is scheduled caste or scheduled tribes or some other backward communities, all of those have to be incorporated. And of course children with disabilities, now they don't have to go to those particular schools where only disabled children study. They can also get admission in the regular schools. And of course for that the schools have to develop such an environment so that they can support the needs of the children with disability. So these are the five major groups which are usually lag behind in receiving proper quality education. As I said earlier, that there is main focus on these groups. How is there main focus on these group? That when students from such group become meritorious, they come forward and they become such bright students, there will be fee waivers for them, there will be scholarships for them, which is of course a very much plus point, because it will encourage them to receive education, and not only education, it will encourage them to receive quality education. And of course for students having cities having such students, there will be more schools of like KVs and JNVs, more schools like this will be established. And if at one place there is large population of such groups, then उन places में special education zones develop किए जाएंगे. What are special education zones? Special education zones which will actually encourage किसको? They will encourage the private organizations to set up quality higher educational institution. What is the benefit of that? When quality higher educational institutions will be developed, तो उन community के जो लोग हैं, they will receive higher education, and when they receive higher education, of course they will come to the front line to be the responsible citizens of the country and be a participant of the progress of the country, which is very much important. And this all will help to bring forward the youth of the country and take the country onto the next level. So for that, inclusive education is very, very important. Then as we saw in the lockdowns, like in last year, there was immense need of online education. And yes, if there was no online education, it would have been very difficult for both the teachers and the students. So online platforms and digital education helped us a lot. And why is the importance, what is the importance of online education? It actually is more accessible to the children, to the learners. It is handy when we use technology, when we use online platforms. It is very handy for the learners, and they can get any information with the use of technology. As we see, whenever we have to look for something, whether it is a very small question to a very big question, to from a very small problem to a very big problem, we always go to Google. We open the Google Chrome, type in the question, search it in, and we get various listings on the Google page. As a result, we choose which one is more feasible for us. We choose that one, and yes, we go with the solution. That is why online platform is very much important. It brings knowledge, it brings information so much handy. It is accessible to everybody, and of course it is free for all. This is a very much plus point. And there are some platforms like Diksha and Swayam, which have helped the teachers as well as the students a lot during this lockdown. And such platforms are going to be strengthened. They are going to be expanded a lot under this NEP. Then children with special needs, there is also support for them. What is that support? As we saw earlier, that children with disabilities or children with special needs, special environment has to be created for them in the educational institutions. Why? Because they have some specific needs. And those specific needs have to be met by the technological aids, by the technological devices. And such children with special needs or with disabilities, they can now study in regular schools now, which is obviously a very good step towards, not only towards inclusive education but also towards equal education. Moving on to higher education, this is a very positive change that the this new policy proposes. Change is that the graduation degree, which is if it is for 4 years, for example, if we take the example of engineering, then it is for 4 years. I go and take admission to the engineering course, but after 1 year, I feel like no, this is not for me. I don't want to do it anymore. I leave it. What happens to the 1 year education that I have received? It will not go to waste. I will get a certificate for that. Similarly, if I complete 2 years of that study, I'll get a diploma for that. If I complete 3 years of degree, I'll get a bachelor degree. And if I complete all the 4 years, then I'll get a multidisciplinary bachelor's degree. So any of the time that I invest in that degree will not go to waste. I'll get the credits and I'll get the certificate for that. Now, major aim for higher education is that there should be, the enrollment. We see that many of the students, after completing their school studies, they drop out. They don't go for higher education. There can be many reasons for that. There can be financial reason or some personal family reason, or it can also be the reason that the student has not been able to get any admission to any college. And in order to solve that problem, by 2035, the government has decided that 3.5 crore new seats will be added to the colleges so that the youth of the country is able to have higher education. And at least half, that is at least 50% of the youth at least should get the education, higher education. And of course, after master's degree, there is no need to have MPhil course now. MPhil courses will be discontinued, and from master's degree, now one can direct go to the PhD degree. MPhil courses have been discontinued. Then there is National Testing Agency, which takes many examinations, like we have NET exam and many other exams are conducted by NTA along with JEE and NEET. NTA will also conduct entrance examination. Why is that important? Why is a positive point? Because this will allow the students to take admissions in various colleges of the country, in any college of the country. They can take the entrance exam. If they clear it, of course, they can choose the college of their choice, which is a very much plus point. Now, it will not be just limited to getting enrolled in engineering courses or in MBBS courses, but they can also go for other graduation courses in other colleges of India as well. And this policy proposes to internationalize on such a level that even the foreign universities can have their campuses in India. And many times we think that after 12th, or not mostly after 12th, but after graduation, students, they have the urge to go to foreign countries and receive education from foreign universities. Now, students can receive education from foreign universities, but they don't have to go to foreign. They can stay in India and still get education from foreign countries. And this is a very good major step that NEP is going to take, that foreign universities will have campus in the country itself. Then, as we saw earlier, that for if I complete 1 year degree, I'll get certificate. And if I have interest in some other course, I'll get enrolled there. When I get enrolled in that other course, I feel like, no, this is not good for me. Engineering was better for me. I should go back to engineering. Okay, I leave that course. I go back to engineering. Is it important for me to go to the same college and pursue my engineering again? No. I can go to some other college. I can use the certificate that I have been provided with. I can use that certificate and the credits that have been given to me for that 1 year education. they will be transferred to the other institution. So there will be no wastage of time, there will be no wastage of education, and the students can freely, enter and exit from the courses that they want to have. This will, help the students to decide what they actually want to do, what they actually want to pursue in their life. Moving on, if someone wants to have teacher education, for example, after 12th we decide that I want to go for teaching profession. What is the requirement for that? The requirement is, first there is a 4 years integrated B.Ed. In that 4 years integrated B.Ed, I'll get my graduation degree as well, and I'll get my B.Ed degree as well. So both those things are integrated in that. Now, what if I have bachelor degree with me already? Then I have to go for 2 years B.Ed. What if I have graduation degree plus I have a master's degree as well? Then I'll go for 1 year B.Ed. So, this is again time saving, that instead of compulsorily going for 2 years B.Ed, I can go either for integrated B.Ed or I can go for 1 year B.Ed if I have master's degree with me. And when we enter into the teaching profession, which mostly happens when the teachers are in the government sector, there is always a fear that what if we get transferred to some city or some area which is not good for us to go, which is very very much far away, and we can't go there in a proper comfortable way. Then for that, this policy ensures that there would be transparency, and for that they will introduce online digital system which will help to go for transfers. And of course that digital system will reduce many chances of having bias nature or doing injustice. It will be more transparent. Then of course teacher ability टेस्ट जो होते हैं जैसे कि सी टेट होता है, ये एग्जाम्स ऐसे एग्जाम्स को ज्यादा से ज्यादा स्ट्रेंथन किया जाएगा. देन जैसे there is a very much problem right now that we don't know when the vacancies are going to be announced. For that, the government will actually plan earlier, and not earlier as in 20 years before. 20 years before it will be planned how many vacancies are going to be there, where the vacancies are going to be. So this all will be planned with the help of the technology, and accordingly the vacancies will be announced. Then of course if the teacher has already joined for the job, there is also certificate courses for the teachers which will help them to have specialization in teaching the children with disabilities. So teachers can also specialize in that area. So with this, we will end our webinar. And I want to thank you all for joining and for listening to us, and giving us your time and cooperating with me for this webinar. I want to thank you all. Thank you very much.